So, you,
Okay.
so you're gonna make me wait till we get to the holdovers to get your
Mm-hmm.
take? Oh man.
Yeah. Yes, I
All
am.
right, so I just start.
Yep.
Okay. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Hollywood Persona podcast. I am Ant, and I am joined here with Mitch, the Mitch Burns. Hello, Mitch.
Hey, how's it going?
Good, man.
Good.
Today we are going to review some new movies that are in theaters that we've both seen. That the ugh, the Killers. Oh my God, I gotta start over.
No. It's good. It's good. Episode 40. Woo!
Yep, episode 40. So I'm doing the intro, and as you can see, I'm doing a wonderful job. So we have The Killer, The Marvels, The Holdovers, Next Goal Wins, Loki season 2. Mitch,
Yeah, I'm going to talk about that.
cool.
Just finished it yesterday so that I could talk about it with you guys.
And then Rustin, which is a new Coleman Domingo movie that comes on Netflix, I think this coming Friday.
Yeah, I just saw that when I was doing the What's Coming Soon segment, which we will do later.
Yeah, and we've got a
Um,
ton of box office news.
mhm.
Of course, box office numbers, and we're going to talk about the Marvels and what that means for the future, and yada yada yada.
Yeah, I think that's going to be a conversation.
I think so
As
too. I
I
have
have
so
some
much to
thoughts.
say. I have
Yeah.
so much to say. And it
Um,
ranges from like apathy, like,
yes.
oh, who cares, whatever,
Yes.
to like really detailed nitpicks. So I don't know.
Yes.
We'll see.
Yes. And then I don't know if you saw, but I did do like a quick on the way home spoilers for the Marvels. I posted just on Patreon.
Oh, I see. I thought that meant we were gonna do a spoilers.
No, I mean we can, but I just was like driving home and I had all these thoughts, so I kind of threw them on and it's like all spoilers, so if you want to hear what happens at the very end and all that, it's all in there. It's like 12 minutes. I just recorded it with my AirPods,
I
so
think that's a great idea. We can use that as a place for that, you know?
yeah, I was kind of I was putting it out, using like voice to text
Yeah.
to kind of like help my review later, but then I'm like, why don't I just record this
Yeah.
and yeah, put it on. So if you're a Patreon member, you can hear that as well as our we did our October recap. That's on Patreon now. So
Right. Yep.
listen to us recap October, talk about November, and we played a game. Yeah, so that was fun.
Yeah. So you want to get into movie news?
Yeah, the big movie news of the week. So exciting. SAG-AFTRA has reached a deal with studios and the AMPTP. After 118 days, actors will be heading back to work. I've already seen like a ton of actors on Instagram excited. Um, the one thing I did see is actors rushing out to promote movies that are out this weekend.
I saw that too. Yep.
Like there was
Brie Larson, I think, was doing some stuff.
yeah, a few of the girls from the Marvels I saw were all of a sudden on red carpets who probably never thought they were going to go,
Yep.
and it's interesting. So it's going to be a whole lot of stuff going on. The other thing I did, Rev, before I get into it, I'm going to do a little breakdown here that I got from TheVerge.com. But the other thing that I saw that was interesting is they haven't been able to really push for like Oscar and awards campaigns
Right.
because of the strike. So now a lot of these movies that are coming out and haven't been able to promote like for awards campaigns like Napoleon and like
Yeah.
these awards contenders, like they're like the people are rushing to push these movies in a few weeks. Like they have a few weeks
You're
before
right.
awards are really taken into account. So
Yeah, normally they would have September, October, November, December.
yeah.
And you're also right that, all these small movies that have Oscar hopes, they pretty much always do a Q&A after
Yeah.
lots of the movies, right? And I think,
Yeah.
they'll even visit theaters and stuff, and they couldn't do any of that shit. So,
No.
yeah, I'm so glad it's
It's
over. Mostly because I didn't want Dune 2 to move anymore.
no. No. Um The Actors Guild has reported that the package is worth over $1 billion in new wages and benefits. I'm just going to quickly break it down. This is from TheVerge.com. Streaming revenue is one thing that was pretty big in the package. So the Guild says it achieved the creation of a new compensation stream for actors in streaming shows and movies. Instead of a percentage of streaming revenue, Guild members will get a substantial bonus on top of existing residuals.
Cool.
And then the rest of the money will go to a jointly trusted distribution fund and be distributed to other actors. Guild members will see 2 wage increases in the contract's first year, 7% following ratification of the contract, and another 4% in July next year, making a compounded first-year increase of 11.28%.
Yeah, that's good, man.
And then more in July 2025. Background actors will see similar raises with 11% upfront. So the contract also calls for a 153% effective increase for series performers' relocations. I don't know what that means, but
okay.
So AI, the big thing, the big new thing on the ticket. The Guild says it has secured, quote, meaningful protections around the use of artificial intelligence, including informed consent and compensation. So I think that, the big thing is that these studios want to be able to use AI going forward, and these actors want their likenesses to be paid for if they're going to be used, and, permission, like consent. So
yeah, I don't think this is that hard or out of the ordinary, right? It's like,
no,
you use me as AI, then just give me a nickel every time it's you, just like you would with every time a show streams or every time a ticket's sold. It's pretty reasonable.
I think so. And then there's some healthcare, retirement contributions, and some diversity in filmmaking things that were added as well. They said there was important gains that include preventative measures against sexual harassment through intimacy coordinators, gender affirming care, forbidding bias practices in hair and makeup, blah blah blah. So looks like they got a pretty good deal, and they haven't fully accepted the deal yet. It has to be ratified over the next week or so, but I mean, all the actors are able to go back to work. So
cool. Great.
The Barbie soundtrack, curated by the producer Mark Ronson and filled with female artists like Billie Eilish, Dua Lipa, Nicki Minaj, has a total of 11 Grammy nominations in over 7 categories. In the best song written for visual media category, Barbie occupies 4 of the 5 slots. So record of the year, obviously What Was I Made For by Billie Eilish was in record of the year. Song of the year, Dance the Night Away by Dua Lipa also got song of the year. So all over the place. I'm Just Ken was nominated for an Oscar, so that means Grammy, sorry. And then Best Score and What Was I Made For that was also received a nomination for Best Music Video, but that does not count towards Barbie's total because that is Billie Eilish's separate video, and just is not a part of,
I got it, yeah.
Captain America Brave New World, which would be the 4th Captain America movie. This is with obviously Anthony Mackie as Captain America now. It has been delayed until February 14th, 2025. Apparently it is wrapped shooting, but will undergo major reshoots after bad test screenings. The rumors are that huge scenes are being thrown out the window. Yeah, so
well, I mean, we heard this with the Marvels. I'm sure you heard, or maybe even mentioned, I think we talked about it in the news. Blade had to be completely rewritten because they ended up with 4 characters and Blade being one of the side ones.
Oh my gosh.
Did you not hear that story?
Yeah, I think we did talk about it, but
I think we did. But what's going on at Marvel, man?
I don't know. And
Thunderbolts?
Yeah, so Marvel's Thunderbolts has been delayed as well, and Deadpool has moved to summer 2024, so just moved a few months. But currently is the only Marvel movie that will be released next year, which I think is a good thing. I think
Yep.
Marvel needs to take a step back and think about what they're doing if they want to have a future. I think Deadpool is kind of outside of the Marvel
Yeah,
universe
yeah.
anyways, so
Yeah, I
um
was just talking to my theater general manager about this. And he was stressing a bit too about next year. He's like, there's
yeah.
only one Marvel movie next year. I'm like, yeah, but there'll be other stuff.
Yeah, exactly. There will. I mean, look at Barbie and Oppenheimer and I mean
And just Five Nights at
Taylor.
Freddy, that
Yeah,
was a huge, I mean, that we'll talk
horror
about it.
movies this
Yeah.
year, like even Insidious Red Door, like did
Yep.
fucking 200 million or
The
something
Nun 2
crazy.
made a shitload of money too.
Yeah, so I don't know. We should be good.
Yeah, yeah.
A24 has a biopic of Elon Musk in development with The Whale director Darren Aronofsky on board to direct. The Hollywood Reporter has confirmed A24 optioned Walter Isaacson's biography of Musk, the CEO of Tesla Motors and SpaceX, which will be turned into a film adaptation.
This is
Um,
kind of cool to me. I like Darren Aronofsky.
yeah.
He usually um does his own thing, right? He doesn't like
Did he do
uh
the one of the Steve Jobs ones? Was it him?
look that up. I don't think
Yeah.
so, but he did that movie with Mila Kunis, and of course Mother, which was, I really
Mm-hmm.
enjoyed Mother the second time I saw it. That was like a what do you
Mother.
make of this movie type thing. And then The Whale, I really like The Whale, and I think this is cool as long as Elon Musk has nothing to do with it, right? Like, this needs to
Yeah.
be a totally outside perspective. I want to see the bad with the good.
Yeah.
So that's cool.
Yeah. No, he didn't do the Steve Jobs one. So, um, this is kind of his first biopic, I guess. Then,
Yeah,
yeah, looks like it. Well, he
yeah,
did Noah, if you count that as a biopic.
yeah. I wasn't too hot on that one.
Inside Out 2, the sequel to the Pixar movie, has released a teaser trailer and poster teasing several new emotions, including anxiety, voiced by Maya Hawke. But I also found out that Bill Hader and Mindy Kaling have been recast in
Oh,
their roles as Fear and Disgust, which kind of sucks. But I've
that
also
does
heard
suck.
in the comments, I was kind of trying to see why, and the only thing people could say is there was rumors that they were upset back when the first one came out that they were basically being paid 2% of what Amy Poehler was being paid.
Oh, okay.
I
So
mean, she is
money
the
thing.
main, but I
Yeah.
mean, yeah, but
To me, this didn't need a sequel really, so I don't know.
yeah,
Just another live action remake, but a sequel instead.
yeah.
So yeah, we'll see.
So we are getting a Legend of Zelda movie. It's been officially confirmed, live action. Nintendo is moving ahead with that. Obviously, like Nintendo has been very cautious about its
Yeah.
movies ever since that '90s Mario they did.
Hmm.
But yeah, they're going to move forward with the Zelda live action. The director of the Maze Runner trilogy will be directing as of right now. So
Cool. I think that could be really good, or just another typical video game movie. We'll see.
yeah, I mean, I have a big love for Zelda, like that original movie. So hopefully it'll be
Same, and
decent.
there's a ton of lore there to
Yeah,
exploit for a movie.
for sure. Um, Hulu and Disney Plus are merging into one app.
Finally.
Yeah, it's always been like that in Canada.
I knew that, yeah.
Yeah, we don't have Hulu here, so we have Disney Plus, and then Star is what they call it here.
Right.
So we get all the extra stuff. I don't know if we get everything that's on Hulu, but some stuff. So
Is it
um,
I think one of the reasons they didn't do it here was to delineate between children entertainment and adult entertainment.
yeah,
So is
yeah.
Star a separate app or
No, it's just you have to say you want Star on your account, like on how like you can have separate accounts.
Yep.
So it's kind of just an age thing, right? Like my kids don't have the Star thing because on their account.
Yeah.
So
Yep. Cool.
um Both apps are going to be one after Disney finalizes its purchase of Comcast, which owns a lot of Hulu.
Yeah.
There will be a beta version of the new quote super app launching in next month, 2023, December. So if you don't get access to the beta, don't worry. A non-beta official version of the app, it will be in spring 2024. Um, and yeah, this is a crazy news I just saw yesterday, and kind of got lost in all the hubbub about the strike. But a year ago, Warner Brothers, do you remember they wrote off the movie
yeah.
Batgirl?
Yep.
They completely wrote off the movie and like completely just destroyed it. It had pretty much finished filming and deleted it so they could use it as a tax write-off. And they are doing it again. They have completely shelved the movie called Coyote versus Acme, which is a Looney Tunes movie with John Cena, a mix between live-action animated movie. The movie was completed, will never be shown to audiences. The entire cast and crew who worked so hard on the movie were completely blindsided. The director even got a Wile E. Coyote tattoo to commemorate the movie finishing. The test audiences say the movie was rating 14 points higher than most family movies like this movie. A lot of people who had seen it says it's like the next what's that rabbit movie everybody loves? Roger Rabbit or
Oh yeah.
okay, I don't really like that movie, so
Yeah,
but
the live action, half cartoon, half
yeah. So it's anyways, it's a $70 million movie. Warner Brothers can write it off and get 30 million back. So that's what they're doing.
So that's really shitty, and
Yeah.
this is just like a reminder that this is also a business. We like to think of it as art, but at least with the big studios, it's like the every single dollar matters. That sucks, man. That's really tragic for them.
Because I think it was going to be a streaming movie, and then they said they were going to put it in theaters, but then they moved because Barbie took the spot and they didn't want to compete with Barbie.
Yeah.
And then everything kind of happened, and now they're just like, yeah, we're just gonna scrap it.
This is suspiciously right after the movie Freelance with John Cena completely bombed.
That's true.
I wonder if that helped them be like, maybe this won't make any money. I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know. Well, why don't you tell us a little bit about what the box office was like this past weekend?
All right. So this is, of course, Marvel's The Marvels. So we talked last week about expectations, so this isn't too much of a surprise. It came in at $47 million domestically in number one, which is the lowest opening in MCU's history, right? Over 30-something movies since 2008. So yeah, it's a bummer. It's a bummer. It's not good for movie business, not good for Marvel.
Yeah.
But Five Nights at Freddy's was behind it in number two at 9 million. So there's quite a gap there, like a $30 million gap, because there's nothing else really has come out recently. So, and then Taylor Swift was number three with 6 million. Priscilla's is a little misleading here because she's in fourth with 4.8 million, but that's because she added over 1,000 theaters. So,
really?
Yeah. So it's like, it's not a true, because last week it was around this amount. So if you look at the week to week drop, it would be like, holy shit, this dropped nothing, but
right,
it expanded further.
So like that's not a lot of money for adding 1,000 theaters.
Right. It's really not.
You think any other movie that's adding 1,000 theaters is going to be something a little higher than that, but
exactly. Like look at the Holdovers in sixth place.
Yeah.
That added a shit ton of theaters, and so that earned 3.2 million.
Yeah.
Which for a movie that size is good.
Yeah.
We don't have it at my theater, unfortunately. I think it's just a little too small, but oh, and then of course Killers of the Flower Moon still 4.7 million. I'll tell you this, I worked today and yesterday, pretty decent sized crowd still for Killers of the Flower Moon, mostly older people, which isn't too surprising. Older folks usually wait like later in weeks to see movies.
I think it's gonna have legs because people are gonna be like, people have to carve out that time, right?
Yep. Yes.
Okay, honey, when are we gonna go see this 3.5 hour movie? Well, do we, maybe next week, right? It's
Yeah,
like
yeah. It's a commit. It's a
it
like
is.
a half day type shit, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, and then like I said, the holdovers jumped up, which is nice. We will review that in a second. So I put
Mhm.
a couple pieces of info about the Marvels here. Worldwide, it made 88.5 million, which is just disastrous.
Yeah,
It's
couldn't
so
even crack
bad.
like a
Yeah,
100 million. That's
across the
crazy.
entire planet. Um, that's just really crazy. It's just
Yeah.
nuts. It's like, Flash and Black Adam type numbers, or even worse, Morbius. I think
I'm
Morbius
actually
even did better.
Morbius did 39 million its
Domestic.
open domestic its opening weekend. But
Okay. What about worldwide?
let me check that out here. You
So
you keep talking and
yeah, like
I'll
I said before, it's lowest opening in MCU history, domestic and worldwide. So this is what I wanted to mention to you, Mitch, and see what you and our listeners think. So,
Mhm.
not Sport Track, but Cinetrack or somebody, and Cinema Score does polling outside theaters,
Yeah.
and the studio pays for it. That's how we know what grade they get. So this got a
Yeah.
B, which is not good. Most movies get A because
Mhm.
people walk out of a movie they just paid for. They're not critics, and they say, "Yeah,
Yeah.
that was great," So
Yeah.
a B is pretty bad. But I found this interesting. Of all the money the Marvels made this weekend, the audience was 65% male,
Hmm.
and so that tells me, and with the movie having three female leads and a female director, um, Marvel's not doing Marvel's not catering to their fans, I guess.
Yeah.
Which then that could be one reason why this movie didn't do too well. Um,
Mhm.
because this doesn't mean that guys won't go see a movie with women in it, but that
It's not what
number,
they want.
yeah, that number tells us, like, all right,
Yeah.
over, almost 2/3 of your viewers are male. So take that into consideration. And
Yeah.
or what are you doing, Marvel, to get women interested,
Yeah.
besides just putting them in roles, like,
Yeah.
which is the easy thing to do. Yeah, I think that's fascinating, because Marvel should be looking at that and saying, holy shit, why aren't women coming to see this? What can
Mhm.
we do to get more women interested in this? So
Well, and I've seen many people going like, where's Shang-Chi? Like, you had such a great movie there, and there's just no movement on a sequel for that.
that one
And
baffles me, because it did well. It was liked.
yeah, yeah.
What?
It's like, I don't know what they're doing over there. But, anyways,
Yeah. So should we jump into reviewing the Marvels?
yeah, let's get right into it. Definitely had some time to think about it now.
Me
So,
too. Me too.
The Marvels is a 2023 action superhero movie. Obviously, you probably know what it is, but if you don't, this is a Brie Larson starring as Carol Danvers slash Captain Marvel. She is back. She had her solo movie 2016 or something like that.
19, I think.
2019. Yeah. This also brings in Monica Rambeau, who
We
is
briefly met in the first one, right? Weren't there
yes.
flashbacks to her?
Yeah, we met her mom,
Oh, her
her
mother.
and her mom. She was a small girl in the first one, but we haven't seen. She is played by Teyona Paris, and you would have only seen her in WandaVision as Monica Rambeau, as the adult Monica Rambeau. It also brings in Kamala Khan, aka Miss Marvel,
Yep.
played by Iman Vellani, and so that's why it's called The Marvels, because you got these three lead girls here. And,
What's the movie about?
well, hold on. Who else is in it? Basically, Samuel L. Jackson is the other person. Zawi, and then Zoe Ashton is the lead female bad girl, I guess I'll
And
say.
Park Se-jun from Parasite.
Yes. Yes, Park Sejun is in here briefly.
Yeah, very
Um,
briefly, 3 minutes maybe. Cool to
yes,
see him though. Cool to see him.
exactly. So essentially, we've got this new bad guy played by Zoe Ashton. I forget what her
Yeah,
name
I
is.
think it's Zoe Ashton,
Yeah. Oh,
but
well,
she's basically
anyways,
Ronin.
she's basically Ronin. Like it's more about the Kree and the Skrulls, and the she is kind of the leader of the Kree, and she is trying to take over this home world. I don't know how much I want to get into that. Just like I don't want to spoil it, but essentially she had a home world that's not doing so hot, so she's trying to
Yeah,
take
that is a
things.
spoiler.
Yeah, she's trying to take things from other worlds, but um,
Let's say this, Mitch. Since this is a big movie, right?
mhm,
And I think we should do our best not to spoil things. We definitely
for
won't
sure,
spoil the very end.
for
But
sure,
if you listener are gonna go see this in the next couple days, and are sensitive to it, maybe come back after, because there's quite a bit to talk about. And yeah, I don't want to spoil anything either, but I think we should talk about a few things, at least in the first like half.
because this is only a 105-minute movie. This is an hour and a half. Um, so you got Nick Fury back. He was pretty prevalent in the first Captain Marvel, and so essentially what it comes down to is these three characters. They have very similar powers, all dealing with forms of light and yeah, and their powers start to intermingle because of some sort of thing that happens is happening in space, and then there's bangles. It's kind of just like Infinity Stones, but something different, right? Essentially, all these movies are there's a thing.
Yep.
Although I will say that I felt like this bad guy, bad girl had a motive, and it was kind of interesting, although just wasn't developed enough.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
once I realized what she was doing and trying to do, I was like, oh, okay, well, this is actually kind of interesting, but they don't go anywhere enough. And you even texted me asking a question about, well, what happened there? And I said, I don't really know. Like there's a
Yeah.
backstory with Captain Marvel that we don't really we get little bits and pieces of, but why or when or how
So let
or
me say it like this.
yeah.
The villain is part of the Kree, right?
They're a yeah, right. She's a leader of the Kree, but she doesn't look like a Kree. I
Right.
don't
Yeah, good point.
know.
So their planet, something on their planet is destroyed.
Mhm.
But then their sun stops outputting as much energy as it was. And that's
Basically
the confusion I have.
dies.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
sun dies.
there's a lot in this movie that doesn't make sense. And I'm going to talk about that a little bit later with another Marvel property. But there's a lot in this movie that you just kind of gotta either accept it or you
Yep.
don't.
Yep.
Like Monica Rambeau is working up in this space station with Nick Fury, and she's reaching out and touching things. And what is this thing she's touching? Like, like what happened to her? Like what And then their powers get intermingled, and it's like why
Yet they
or
seem to be able to use them at the same time when they're in fights.
yeah, so that's the thing. Apparently, once their powers are intermingled, if one of them uses one of their powers, then they all change places.
Yeah,
Yet
so
sometimes they can use their powers, but sometimes
right.
it's really not
So
planned
have
out
you heard
well
of
enough.
quantum entanglement as is a property of quantum mechanics?
No, like was that I didn't know that was actually a thing. I
Yeah,
thought that
well,
movie just
so
made that up.
no, this is true, and this is work that Einstein did. And I'm not
Okay.
a physicist, but I know some of this stuff. So there is a real life phenomenon called quantum entanglement, where two particles can be entangled and then separated by light years. And what's fascinating, and we can't really answer why, is if one of them is changed, the other one instantly changes. And
Hmm.
that's crazy because how would the information cross all that distance? Let's say you
Hmm.
had one on Earth and one on the moon. Nothing could travel faster than light. So it's a very strange property of quantum mechanics that's still being studied. So
Wow.
when they brought this power thing up, I thought that's an interesting way to use quantum mechanic properties. But yeah, they later go through fistfights and stuff with people, and they both or all three appear to be using their powers at the same time, and they're not
and not switching.
So it just wasn't clear. It just wasn't clear.
It wasn't clear. Nothing in this movie is unfortunately clear enough. And then we're not going to give any spoilers, but this movie also goes down a couple really silly paths.
Yeah. So you texted me and said you think I'll hate something. Do you want to say what it is, and then I'll tell you if I did?
Let's just say there's singing involved.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty stupid. Really stupid. I get the idea, but they're speaking English, like they're singing English. So come on.
Yeah.
And that funny hat Brie Larson put on.
That was like out of the worst prop department ever.
That was like a high school play. Like
let's make a big cloud and just put fucking dollar store streamers on it.
They took a pillow. They took an orange throw pillow and stapled streamers to it, and she wore it on her head.
Yeah.
Yeah, you keep going though, because I interrupted you.
No, that's okay. This movie plays a lot of catch up because, and I don't know if you felt that. I think I kind of said that to you before you went in, but like this movie has to explain to you the show Miss Marvel. It has to explain to you a little bit of what happened in WandaVision, that's how Monica Rambeau got her powers, was in WandaVision. She kind of explains that. And I'm not giving any spoilers for the movie, I'm just saying. And then it also takes some time to go back and remind you of what happened in Captain Marvel.
Yep.
So and
you need to know about the blip, which obviously that everyone knows about that.
Right. Yep.
Prerequisite.
Like what happened during Endgame and everything. And, there's a lot here. We also, because we haven't seen Captain Marvel since Endgame. And yeah, it's a lot. I didn't hate the movie.
I thought you said you didn't hate it. I thought
it was it was entertaining enough, and I had fun, and there's some good family stuff. Miss Marvel, the TV show, was actually a pretty good show, one of the better shows they did. I've seen all of them. Call me crazy.
No, I've heard people like it. Yeah.
And her family is really funny, and was a good part of the show. I got way too fucking much of them in this movie. Like, we didn't need all that. Like, I thought
it was weird they were included so much.
They just kept kind of following them all around, and they weren't really needed or necessary. Like,
and it's weird that we follow them, yet we don't know that level of detail about our main character, Marvel, Captain Marvel, right? I don't know about her parents. I guess we do know a little about her, where she came from, but not who her brother, mother, where they live. Like, but I can see why Disney chose to include them, because they work well, they have chemistry. The show probably showed like, oh, these characters are great, let's put them in. But for me as an outsider, not having seen the shows, I'm like, wow, who are these people? And the bangle wristbands, she just has one,
that's in the show, but
right.
But yeah, they're all of a sudden being another one is like a whole thing, because the first one she was just handed down by her grandma.
Right.
And this
buried in a vault on a moon somewhere.
So why her grandma has one, I don't know. I don't fucking get it. I mean, to me, it's a 3-star movie. It's harmless.
Yep.
But it's on the very low end of Marvel. I kind of equate Marvel to Pixar right now, where it's like they're still making good movies, but nothing as good as they did. And I think, like, if you go into this and you know what you're getting into, you're not going to hate it.
Yeah.
Like, it's got an 85% audience score, which is higher than I thought it would be with how much hate I saw going into it.
And I'll mention this. I can't stand how, if you dislike the movie, then there's a subset of people who immediately think you don't like women, you don't like black people. Like, I hate that this, I hate that thing around this movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I didn't really like this one, Mitch, but you know what? Like the more I've thought about it, I think I'm just superhero movied out.
Yeah.
Or
Oh yeah.
or this movie, as opposed to the other Marvel movies that I do like, was made for a younger audience. Like I thought the jokes and quips and
The cat
fighting
stuff.
stuff, yeah, to me that felt like targeted at younger
Yeah.
people
Yeah.
instead of stuff like Endgame and Infinity War, which you got to kind of be 18 or older to really feel the gravity of that kind of
Mm-hmm.
situation. So like I
100%.
I've like let my fangs retract because it's just not for me. And like you said, if you can go along with some of the stuff, then you'll have a good time because it's bright, it has some jokes, it jumps from planet to planet with some cool visuals and pretty good CGI, I thought too. But
But
yeah,
it should be for you,
right, it should.
because we are 30 something movies in,
Yeah.
and you know what I mean, they shouldn't be trying to make this for some other crowd,
Yeah. Yep.
like this is for the people who have watched all
All
30
30.
movies and
Yep.
want, you know what I mean, want more.
Yep.
And
Yeah, I agree. I think it's a
I think
misfire because of that.
I think at some point Kevin Feige and his crew said, we're going to spend the next little bit trying to get in people who might not normally be into Marvel, and that's a mistake.
And maybe this was their attempt at, hey, we're seeing 65% of people that see our movies are men. Let's try and get women. So they do this. But, one of my biggest complaints for this movie was Nia DaCosta, right? She did Little Woods and the new Candyman, which I
Okay.
thought were
Yeah.
pretty cool and have their own style.
Mm-hmm.
There's no footprint of that in here.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing I saw on the screen was like, oh, that's a Nia DaCosta flirt. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like
For
those
sure.
had atmosphere. This just felt like a packaged Marvel
Yeah.
movie. And I feel bad because well, maybe she got a big paycheck, but it's like, she, like Sam Raimi, you can kind of feel his fingerprints
For
in
sure.
the
Doctor Strange, Multiverse of
Strange. Yep.
Madness.
But this one, it's like, this just feels like any of the others. So it's like, why even get Nia DaCosta? So it's like, do you just get her because she's a black woman and now you can say, hey, look, we gave an opportunity, that's
Yeah.
cynical side. But so I have some other nitpicks and complaints.
Mm-hmm.
We have another sky portal or a beam up into the sky, which gets brought up a lot. I
Yeah.
thought they'd be self-aware to like not do those. But again, if you can just flow with this, it's fine. It's really not that bad.
Mm-hmm.
I thought Monica Rambeau being like at odds with Captain Marvel a little strange because the only explanation we get is she
You
told her as
left.
as a kid, I'll be back, and she hasn't come back. It's like,
Yeah.
I, you know,
Oh, I'm sorry. Captain Marvel's been a little fucking busy,
busy, right?
saving the planet and trying to figure shit out. I mean, this movie did give us a reason why we haven't seen her, recently, and where she's been, kind of thing. Um, but
Yeah, but
whatever.
that was a little weird. I was a little like, all
Yeah.
right, well, you can move on from that. I'm sure I've told friends I'll call them next week, and I forgot.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and something in this I noticed too, and why I said maybe I'm just superheroed out. They're just constantly punching each other, and they can't do damage to each other by
I know.
punching. So why
I
are
know.
why are we doing that? Like,
There's a
um,
character, and this isn't a spoil. I'm not going to spoil anything, but there's a character who dies, and they die in a way that, well, I can't say anything else, but like they just die in such like a boring way, like
I'm
um
not sure who. I can't remember who you're talking about.
um well, I shouldn't say. I'll tell you later.
Okay,
I'll tell you
all right.
after.
So
Yeah.
but your point is they die in such a cheesy way.
That's what I mean. They spend 2 hours punching not 2 hours, but they spend an hour punching each other,
Oh, right.
with different lights and stuff, and then a character dies this way, and you're like, oh, okay.
Oh, it was that easy.
Yeah. I guess the lights weren't gonna do it.
The U-Haul product placement annoyed me a little bit, but that's fine. That's how movies get made. Remember when they move into that country house, it's like U-Haul boxes everywhere.
Yeah.
And it's like, if these people can fly, why would they why would they need a truck for anything? Like,
I'm actually just thinking. I just saw the holdovers, and they had a U-Haul placement at
yes,
the
yes,
very
they
end,
did.
but
Yep.
but but it wasn't as
It wasn't like a
egregious.
thousand boxes. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly. It was one truck. I mean, but
So on to piggyback onto what you were trying to dance around.
mhm,
So that happens, and then also another character fixes something in 1 second. Uh, and
mhm,
another character we get a resolution to this movie like that, and it was
mhm.
no big deal. And someone's like, "Oh, we gotta help do this and this," and the person says, "Hey, you might be able to do that," and she says, "Well, I've never tried it," and then
Oh
we're
yeah.
all set. It's all
There's
good, which
yeah.
could
There's
have been
like
done an hour ago and avoided a lot of death. So,
yeah.
and then at the ending of this movie, there is a scene. I'm not going to spoil it, but there is a
Like
scene,
the post credits.
not the post credits.
Okay.
There's a scene where a character goes to another character and says, "Your world is about to get so much bigger." And we just had that with Morbius, right? With Michael Keaton and um, Jared Leto, and
True.
and Nick Fury did that like originally. We've had so
And
many
that's what this was
characters.
supposed to be a play on, right? Is Nick Fury?
Yeah, I guess so, right? I guess they are
Yeah.
homaging to it since they are the
Hmm.
ones that did it. But I was like, oh, all right, here we go again. Another like your world's about to get bigger and bigger. So
And you don't even know who that character is. That
right.
at the end, I
Well,
do.
I know. I guess I know who she plays, the name, and I
And
of
what she
course
was
know the
holding.
actress. Yeah,
Yeah, she was holding something that made it obvious who she probably was.
yeah,
So
yep. So so yeah, that's it. I just my major thing is where's Nia DaCosta's fingerprints? I'm not seeing
yep,
them here.
yep.
And yeah, if you can get past the little these are all nitpicks. It's not that big a deal, but it just didn't work for me. And like I said, I think I might just be kind of bored. We've had so many superhero movies. This is very like Blue Beetle to me, where it's like it's fun. There's some laughs.
Hmm.
It might be a fun time at the theater, but I probably won't think about it ever again.
I th- I mean, I think it's definitely a star above anything DC did this year.
Yeah,
I
you think this
mean,
is much better than Blue Beetle?
yeah, I really didn't
Or
like
or
Blue
um
Beetle or Black Adam.
or what about Shazam 2? That wasn't that
I
bad,
didn't
right?
really like that. Like, I mean,
Oh yeah, there was
I
some
kind of liked
yeah.
that one at the time, but I look back on it as just like such a jumbled mess. And maybe I give,
Marvel a little
yeah,
easier.
like maybe I'm just a little biased because I'm kind of trying to figure that out in my head where I'm at with Marvel, you know?
Yeah, yeah. Well, and
Like, do I,
that's fine. You can disagree with me.
no,
But
I like wonder where am I giving it a pass? Like,
right, right.
you know, like why am I okay with this, but I'm not okay with that? Like there was some really like stupid stuff in here, and I didn't hate Ant-Man Quantumania, but I liked this a lot better.
Yeah, yeah.
But
I would I would put them on about equal footing for me.
the CGI was better here, and like
Yes.
there wasn't any really bad CGI at all here.
No, and
Um,
I need to mention something else too, and this might clash with something you feel.
uh,
I think Brie Larson is kind of boring as this character. I don't know if so I think she's a capable actress. Her
yep,
in the movie
for sure.
Room was excellent, right?
Short
Of
term
course.
12.
And also she did what was it called, man? Kong Skull Island, she's fine in too, right? She was
Hmm.
fun in Free Fire.
Yes,
And then
yep.
she was actually really good in the Glass Castle. I don't know if you saw that one.
I did, yeah, I did, yeah.
Yeah, that was
She
kind of a
was good
cool
in
role
that.
for her.
She
So
needs another really good role, I think.
I think so too. This one, I don't know. She just, it just doesn't, something isn't working. And maybe it's the writing, and I don't know much about her character because of the writing. So yeah, I'm
Yeah,
like, I don't know. It seems like she doesn't feel like she wants to be there or something. I was just not all that excited about her, and
yeah.
that bums me out because I
I
like her a
guess I
lot.
just seemed like she was this one. She was like trying to have a little more fun than she was in the first one. She
Definitely,
was very
definitely.
serious. So
Yep.
I mean, it didn't bother me, but I didn't. Yeah, she's fine. I don't know. Like
Yeah,
I don't
yeah,
know. Like I maybe this like I just don't think this superhero stuff is for her. Like this big
for
blockbuster stuff
y-
is for Brie Larson. She needs to be doing other stuff. Like I'm
agreed,
glad she's
agreed.
got the
That's what I'm
paycheck,
trying to get
but
across. Yep,
yeah. No, I
that's
do
what.
agree. So what
Yeah,
are
because
you?
she's good. So I think I am 2 stars. I'm
Yeah.
2 stars.
Yeah. I'm
Yeah.
3, but I'm very bought in. I've spent way too many hours.
Yep. Yep.
Way too many hours.
Yeah. So with this being this big of a disappointment, it'll be interesting to see
Mhm.
what changes they make because they obviously
Yeah.
will be making some. So
Yeah. The
you
one
know,
thing the one thing I saw today, um, and I just wanted to touch on it while we were so Stephen King, the writer, he posted today. I don't go to MCU movies. I don't care for them, but I find this barely masked gloating over the low box office for the Marvels very unpleasant. Why gloat over failure? And I 100% agree. Like
yeah.
it's and I feel like it's a lot of like some of those kind of men. I'm not saying everyone, but they're like they were like, oh, why do we need these women movies, blah blah blah. It's like, oh, see, it did bad. Well, yeah, it's doing bad.
Right,
It's
and they'll
like,
say it's because it was women led. Yeah.
yeah, and like I just wish it was better so that
Yeah, agreed. And that's why I said what I said early on is I don't want
yeah.
my dislike of this to be taken any other way than I just didn't like the story and the characters and stuff. Um and yeah, it sucks. It sucks when these aren't good, like
Hmm.
because then those idiots get their views and clicks and get to say, "Oh, see, it's ruined woke,
Yeah,
such and such and such."
exactly.
Yeah, but they're going to be
Well,
there no matter what. So, you know.
yeah. Um, what
Well,
do you
yeah.
want to
So
move
that's the
into?
Marvels. Let's do. Why don't I do Rustin or Next Goal
Okay.
Wins?
Yeah. Talk about next
So,
goal wins.
all right. So Next Goal Wins comes out next weekend. This coming
Yeah.
weekend. I got a chance to see it a week early by just pure luck. A theater chain near me was doing a $5 surprise movie thing. So you only have to pay $5, but you don't know what movie you're going to see. So this is Taika Waititi's next movie, which I was pretty excited when the logo came on because he's had some good movies in the past, right?
Yeah.
So this is 2023. It stars Michael Fassbender at the center, and then there are some other names here that are very hard for me to pronounce because they're American Samoan or New Zealand. Um, you have Will Arnett and Elizabeth Moss. They only have about 2-3 minutes of screen time. They're very side characters, and the movie is introduced by Taika. He comes out in a cool costume and explains that the American Samoa team, which to remind you, Mitch, is over almost by New Zealand. It is
Okay.
way the fuck across the Pacific Ocean, but somehow America owns part of it.
Oh,
Yeah, I guess we just arrived and took ownership. But
sounds like you guys.
yeah, we do that a lot. Their World Cup team has the record for losing the worst in history. They lost a World Cup match, not the finals or anything, but a qualifying match, 31-0. And most soccer games are like 1-0 scoring.
Yeah.
So pretty embarrassing.
Yeah.
So the story is Michael Fassbender is washed up as a coach, and he gets sent out to American Samoa to try and turn this team around. And really, this team, they just want to score one goal. They don't even want to win. They don't want to win the World Cup. They don't want to win and qualify. But yeah, so this is a pretty plucky and light comedy.
Hmm.
It's got some pretty good laughs, and it's got American Samoa to farm for comedy, which is a
Yeah.
place I haven't seen any other comedies done. So that's kind of fun. There's a gag where at noon every day or something, a clock in town strikes, and everyone just puts their head down to pray, no matter what's going on. So he's like paying for groceries, and he's like, "Hello, hello, hello." So there's some fun stuff, like some cultural stuff like that. Um, but overall, it's just kind of a forgettable or standard sports movie. So I want to tell you my rating now. It's 2.5,
Oh, wow.
which means it's positive or negative. It's like right in the middle. Yeah, because it was like there's nothing that really makes this stand out any better than any others. I think this was probably a personal project for Watiti because he's New Zealand, right? And
Yeah.
so he must know or have known about this. Fassbender is really fun in this as the drunken, washed up coach.
Yeah.
Um, the team also has a transgender person who plays for them. So
Mm.
there's some fun comedy there. She walks up and the old coach is like, yeah, that's our player, Jessica or whatever. And Fassbender's like, no, this is a men's league. What are you talking, funny. And so there's some good jokes there, and
Yeah.
they develop a friendship, which ends up being kind of nice. So yeah, this is a streaming while it's raining and you've watched everything else on Netflix. It's not bad,
Yeah.
but it doesn't really do much to stand out, I would say.
Hmm. I've heard really good early reviews from some people
Oh yeah?
calling it what TT's best. Um,
No way.
yeah, yeah. Some people like I that's but
Oh
I
well,
don't.
I'm glad to hear people have that reaction, but I
Yeah.
saw it with a friend of mine and a non-movie nerd,
Hmm.
and he was like, "Yeah, that was okay. It was all right." And we laughed, a half dozen time, which six laughs is like that's great for a
Hmm.
comedy, right? Like
Yeah.
if we have to put a number to it. But
The
no, I think
trailers haven't sold me.
I think Jojo Rabbit's better. I think Thor
Oh yeah.
Ragnarok's better. I think What
Yeah.
We Do in the Shadows is way better. And I
Yeah.
think Hunt for the Wilder People is like
Yeah. One of his
miles
best.
above those. So
Yeah. Yeah.
so yeah, yeah, are you gonna check this one out?
For sure. Yeah, I'll see it at some point, even if I don't see it in theaters. But
Yeah, I think it's
um,
90 minutes or maybe just a little more. So,
that's good.
it's
Yeah.
not too much of a commitment. But yeah, so that's Next Goal Wins. It's Taika Waititi and Michael Fassbender, and it comes out in theaters next weekend,
Next
November
weekend.
17th.
Well, it's cool. We got an early look at it, but it's too bad it didn't necessarily work for you. But um,
Yeah, I'm glad I
that's
saw it
okay.
because I would have ended up seeing this anyway. So,
Hmm.
they're doing another one in a couple weeks, and there's like rumors that it might be Poor Things because the only
Ooh.
thing they tell you is the rating and the length. And so
Okay.
this one is rated R, and I think it's 2 hours and 2 minutes, and
Okay.
Poor Things is right around there. So we'll see. We'll
I
see.
just did a film Vaulters with a guy who got to see it at the New York Film Festival
Okay.
and said it's just incredible. That and he saw Zone of Interest, so I'm like really jealous.
Ah, damn. Yeah,
Yeah.
one of these years we need to do a podcast trip to NYFF
Yes.
or even TIFF
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
go do one of those. I would love to do that.
Yeah. That would be killer. Speaking of killer, actually, I'm gonna talk about the killer. You talked about it a week ago or 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
You saw it in theaters. It is now available to stream on Netflix, so I literally watched it, on the 10th, the day it came out, and I really love it. I really love this movie. I thought it was great. I don't have a crazy like amount to say about it, although I do. Um, to me, it's it reminded me a lot of Drive,
Yeah,
um,
I could see
just
that.
like because it's so stylized and there's a lot of inner monologue and stuff going on in his head. Like the first half an hour, 25 minutes is just inside his head talking, him preparing for a kill that he's trying to do, and then this is in the trailer in the description, but he misses the kill. He
Yeah,
misses
yeah.
the shot, and he's never missed a shot in his life, and that takes you down a road um, that like every turn was something I wasn't expecting, and you're trying to keep up and trying to understand kind of what's going on, and like um it's not like one of those movies where you have this hitman
Right, right.
and like you get to know like the whole backstory and everything and like who his boss is and what. No, this is just one guy. We don't know anything, and
You don't even know his name.
no, you never do. And he is well. That's a running joke that I
Yeah, I
kind
mean,
of.
he has 1,000 names,
He
right?
has 1,000 names. Um, and you're just uncovering his life and everything as you go along, right? You don't know, and what is he doing next? You don't really know what he's doing next, but
No.
you find out with him.
And one thing I liked about this that I almost didn't catch, like Fincher, I'm almost not smart enough to understand Fincher. Like, I'm happy to admit
Right.
that. So the whole time he's going through the motions, right? We get a lot of over narrated dialogue from him.
Hmm.
And what I almost missed was he's saying stuff like, stick to the plan, never deviate, don't do
Yeah.
this. And he is consistently not sticking to the plan and improvising, and he's
Yeah.
fucking up, and he fucked up the shot. And
Yeah.
um and so I think it's supposed to be kind of funny, like this guy's kind of an idiot in a way, like, and he also shouldn't have a girlfriend or roots
Hmm.
anywhere. He,
Hmm.
like, that's part of his mantra is to be mobile and blah blah, but he does, so that ends up becoming a problem for him. So
Yeah.
I didn't catch that until like way later into the movie. I'm like, oh yeah, he's not really doing exactly what he's saying. I guess maybe this is what he wants to live by. But yeah, it's good. I thought it was great. It was a lot of fun. And
But he also makes a lot of smart decisions too.
yeah, he does.
Like
He
like
definitely
a,
does.
a lot of what he does, like you know, when he makes a kill or something, let's say, and he has to kind of clean up and just the little things, like he rushes into a bathroom, he changes, he wipes down the sink, he does this, like just the little things I was catching on, like it was just so well written,
Yeah.
I think.
Yes. Yes, I would agree.
And I think this is the writer behind Seven,
Yep.
or I think so. It was just so well written, and I liked it. I liked his monologue. There's a lot of
Me
it. There's a
too. Me
lot of
too.
just him talking. And that first 20 minutes or whatever, where he's just in a room waiting to kill somebody, was interesting and tense and not boring for me.
Yeah, I thought that was a great opening. Great
Yeah,
opening.
they did. Yeah, it was really good, and where it goes. There's a restaurant scene with a
Yep.
certain actor we really love. I don't know if you love them, but I do, and that scene is really tense and really great.
Yep.
I should say, sorry, this is Michael Fassbender starring in the lead role.
Yeah,
And
so it was
and
funny for me to see him right after this as a
yeah,
kind of drunken, silly soccer coach. I'm like,
he's
what?
almost unrecognizable in the trailers for Next Goal Wins. Like I didn't know it was him.
Oh my, you're right. I didn't
Yeah.
really recognize him either. In Next Goal Wins, he eventually shaves his beard and it comes out. But
Okay.
I want to say there's a scene
Mhm.
in The Killer that is a fight between Fassbender
Oh,
and someone else, and it
it's
is awesome. It's
so
choreographed
good.
awesome.
So
There's
good.
dogs, there's distractions,
Yeah.
this is a fight to the death, and they
Yeah.
both get really fucked up. And
And
it was an awesome scene.
oh, yeah, and it's so dark in this scene, and you don't care. Like you're kind of not seeing things, but then like a fridge opens, so then you get some light on it and you see
Yeah,
some
yeah.
like crazy. It's so well shot. Like this movie it's growing on me the more I think about it. I think I'd like to give it a rewatch even. And yeah, I'm 4.5 stars on this. It's
Wow,
it's up
cool.
it's up there like top six with for Fincher. I've seen all of Fincher's movies, and like I don't think Fincher's made a bad movie. I mean, Mank's down there at the bottom for me, but
Yeah,
I
same.
don't think Mank was bad, just not for me. Um,
Cool. I'm glad you liked it. For me, it was
yeah.
3.5, but I can see
Oh,
why
come
you had
on.
a 4.5.
I just I just bought in. I just bought into the style and the story and the look and everything. It just,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's probably 4. I'm actually probably gonna change my thinking.
No, don't change it just
No,
because
no,
I'm
no.
on
I'm
there.
not changing because you. I mean, I really rethought it because I've listened to a few reviews and one like really long breakdown that the Big Picture did, and there's so much I missed. Like I said, I think he's smarter than I am, so
I think I'm glad I listened to you talk about it and that it came out, because if I'd seen it in theaters, I think my expectations would have been a lot higher.
Right.
But seeing, it's just so good. It's somebody posted in the one Facebook group and they just said, if this was like this is The Killer is like a pill that I just want to like crush up and snort. Like it's just one of those things you just want in your brain. It's a lot of fun. So
yep. Cool. I'm glad you liked it.
Yeah. Why don't you lead us?
I can do Rustin, and then we can close with the Holdovers.
Okay.
All right. So because Rustin will be kind of quick.
Okay.
All right. So Rustin is a 2023 movie that premiered at one of the film festivals this year. It's it's directed by George C. Wolfe, and it stars Coleman Domingo, right? So Coleman Domingo. Pretty much everyone knows him, I think, from something. He was
Candyman.
Speaking of Candyman, he was Candyman. He was in Beale Street Could Talk. He was in Lincoln. He was the pimp in Zola, which was a really fun character.
Oh yeah.
He had a small part in the show Euphoria. He had a small part in Selma. It goes on and on. He's Assassination great. Nation. Lucy in the Sky, that Natalie Portman movie where she drives across the country and poops in her diaper. That he was in that one.
I haven't seen that.
I thought Anderson talked about it. Anyway, he's in the upcoming The Color Purple, and on and on and on. This guy just disappears into roles.
He's great.
Yeah, he is really cool. I first took notice of him in Fear the Walking Dead back when I was still into The Walking Dead. But all right, so this is a Netflix movie that comes out next week, I think, or the 23rd, about the gay civil rights activist Baynard, I think is how it's said, Baynard Rustin. So the story is this: the March on Washington, which is a very famous march that happened in the United States during the civil rights period, that had something like 200,000 people just peacefully walk into the Capitol, the Washington Monument, basically, just demanding equal rights. That's all they wanted, not too much, just to be treated equally. And this is, famous. There's been movies made about this and such. But the story here is this man, not necessarily MLK, really got the ball rolling and got this protest organized, or march organized.
Okay.
But since he's gay, or since he was gay, and that was in the 60s, even the civil rights conscious Martin Luther King Jr. and those in his sphere were like, we don't really need to have this guy as our leader. They'll say, oh well, they're taking civil rights and they want gay, how they would have done it. So
right.
So that's the excuse. And it's short, it's speedy. It's, there's hard scenes where you have to watch people call other people the N-word, and sitting on a bus and getting beaten up, because I'm starting to have a harder and harder time watching that stuff. Just because I've seen enough of it. All right, So, but this movie's not that bad with it. They're small. It's PG-13.
Could have been worse.
2 of them, yes, way worse. So, I like this. This is good. This is you know what you're getting for this. It's a civil rights based on a true story. But this guy's story should have been told. He's quite a character. He's dating a white guy, but kind of also seeing a black man behind the scenes, and that causes some friction. So it's decent. I gave this 4 stars, really mostly because Domingo. He has like a cracked tooth, a weird accent, and the dialogue is really sharp here. There's a lot of oh, that could be my yearbook quote, or I could put that inspirational wall what you just said up there. So that's Rustin. I would say check it out on Netflix if you're at all curious. Chris Rock is in this movie with some goofy ass age makeup on.
Yeah.
I sent you a picture from the theater because I'm like, what are they doing?
But we did look up that he is 58.
And you know what? It's a blessing to him, because he doesn't look old enough to play this character, but he
No.
is. He's just got good looks and genetics. So
Yeah.
yeah, but he plays a small part, but damn, he looks goofy. Yeah. And yeah.
And what did the Obamas have to do with this
Oh,
movie?
right. God.
Oh, it's their production company
yes, this is their
hired
production company.
ground. Yes. Okay.
Definitely should have mentioned that. So yeah, it has the power of the Obamas behind it.
Yeah.
And
Obama
it's nice
power.
to see them doing this kind of work. I mean,
Yeah.
showing Black excellence and bringing up stories like this that I didn't know about, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's cool. They did American Factory, which got nominated. They did Crip Camp. So
yes.
yeah, they've done some cool shit. So all right, so let's move on to. I said I gave it 4 stars, right? Yep.
Yeah. Well, let me just talk about, before we get into the holdovers, let me just talk about Loki season 2. So.
Oh yeah.
Excuse me. Anyway, so Loki season 2 premiered a few weeks ago. There's only 6 episodes in this season. You got Tom Hiddleston back playing Loki, and then you also got Sophia DiMartino back. She is great. I don't know if you would know her from anything. She's been in a lot of TV shows, but she is really great. She's beautiful, and she plays another version of Loki, but like a female version.
Okay.
Wunmi Wasuku, Eugene Cordero, Katie Dickey's in this season, who I love. And then we also get, Owen Wilson is back in this season. He's in the first season. But we also get Ki Hu Kwan.
I see him. Yeah.
Is in this season, which he's in every episode. So he shows up right in the first episode, and you know, he's at first I was kind of like, oh, they just put him in here because he's huge right now. But then by the end, you know, you understand why he's there, and it's pretty good. This show has a lot of kind of where they're throwing a lot of science at you. Right. And it's a lot about, you know, quantum physics and timelines and the branching timelines, and because they work at the TVA, the Time Variance Authority.
So I did see the first 2 episodes of the first season, so I have some reference. But yeah, so, keep going.
Yeah, so at the end of the last season was when they brought in Jonathan Majors as like the new big bad guy, and who was was going to be probably the big bad going forward. And he was also in Ant-Man Quantumania. So all I'm gonna say is the season 2 may have found a way to kind of get rid of him.
Okay.
In a certain way. And I don't know if it's going to happen, but it seems like they've kind of worked their way into, if things don't work out with Majors, because Jonathan Majors has this I can't remember, he was involved in some sort of domestic dispute.
Yeah, he's got court coming up soon.
Yeah.
Who knows? So
they kind of, it's almost like, I mean, he is in almost every episode of this season, but it seems like they kind of wrote him out in the very last episode. The last 2 episodes go down a road I wasn't expecting, and it gets really emotional, and I think this is the last of Loki. I'm not going to give any spoilers, but I think it's worth a watch if you're a Marvel fan. And Loki gets a proper kind of ending. I'm not saying he dies or anything, but just the way the show ends, I think Loki's in a place where, you know, we could say goodbye to the character and be happy for him. But it takes
wrong with me just going and watching the last episode?
No, actually, you know what? I think that's a cool idea, because you're not going to know a lot of what's going on, like with the timelines and blah blah, but you get to see a little bit of, you know, Ki Hu Kwan's character, and there's some really fun like time warping stuff. Like he keeps kind of having to go back in time, and then things aren't working. So it's really great. You get a little like some cool Owen Wilson stuff. And I think if you wanted to see where Loki kind of is ending up,
yeah,
I think watching that final episode, it's an hour, it's 60 minutes. So,
okay.
But yeah, so that's all I wanted to say. And I
have a
can.
question about Loki season 2.
Mhm.
Do you think they purposely released season 2 and the Marvels at the exact same time? Like, it seems like that's so much to drop on Marvel
Yeah,
people, right?
I think I saw Captain Marvel before I watched the final episode. So I think watching Captain Marvel before watching the final episode made me know how the final episode of Loki was going to end, because
Okay.
they're both kind of dealing with that time thing at one point.
Yeah.
And I knew, and it's hard to explain, but yeah, I think they kind of did it on purpose. But I think they should have
Okay.
had the finale come out like last week, and then Captain Marvel come
Yeah.
out this week. So, having the finale come out the same day was a little weird. But man, it's got one of the best scores this year.
Interesting.
It has an incredible score, like so great. I love the score for this show. So yeah, so the Holdovers.
Yeah, let's talk about the Holdovers.
Yes, you saw the Holdovers almost a week
Friday?
ago, or no?
No, I think it was just Thursday or Friday.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So this comes from director Alexander Payne, who did Nebraska and
Sideways,
yes, Election,
about Schmidt.
and yeah, about Schmidt. So this reunites Paul Giamatti from Sideways with Alexander Payne, the director, and it is in 1970, and it is at a boarding school in Boston, or
suburbs, Massachusetts.
Yeah, Massachusetts area,
it's
and
like a high end prep school for rich white boys that then get to go to Harvard or Princeton from there.
Exactly. And Paul Giamatti is a hard ass teacher who is keeping these kids. They're called the Holdovers. They're the students who can't go home for Christmas break. And Paul Giamatti has been stuck. It's a high school,
right? So if your parents can't come get you for winter break, you have to stay at the school.
Yeah.
And so there's a few kids that have to stay for whatever reason. So, sorry, go ahead.
No, that's about it.
And I think you should mention that Paul Giamatti is a hard ass, but he's also just a miserable character. He drinks way too much.
Yeah.
And he's taking his job a little too seriously, right? He obviously very much cares about history and cares about teaching it, but he's lost the plot in that these are seniors in high school. So go give him a break from time to time, but
he has
letter of the law by everything.
Yeah, his job is his life. It's his only thing. It's his life, and he takes it very seriously. This movie also introduces us to a new actor, Dominic Sessa. He is kind of the lead student in the movie, as well as we also get Divine Joy Randolph in this movie. She plays the cook, the head chef, and she is staying over Christmas as well to cook for the kids. And there's some other kids in this. Carrie Preston's in this, but nobody really else.
Yeah, it's mainly these three characters.
Yeah.
The black heavyset cook is staying. Paul Giamatti is staying because he has no life, and the kid is staying because of some circumstances that you'll find out when you watch the movie.
And Giamatti has something wrong. He's got a lot of issues. He apparently smells bad. He's got an issue with his eye. I don't know how they did that. That was really well done makeup or contacts or something. They got him looking older and bigger than he is. Like he is just a frumpy, grumpy man.
Yeah, they
So
did a great job with him
yeah,
here,
they did.
and making
They
him
did.
look like what you would think a New England professor at a boys prep school would look like, with like
Yeah.
vests, and yeah, just
Yeah.
his all his little things he does.
Yeah.
Giving books as gifts to everyone, the same book.
The same book. Yeah. Yeah. This movie has
So what'd you
a
think of the movie?
yeah. Well, you talk about it first.
All
You
right, all
you
right.
you go.
So this movie really wowed me. All
Hmm.
right. I went to see it. I hadn't seen the trailers. I'd purposely avoided them. Um, and I knew it was Paul Giamatti. And I did know, I heard someone say somewhere like, set your expectations. This isn't an action movie. This is just a chill drama at a prep school in the winter. It's
Hmm.
just a heartwarming type of movie. So I went in with those expectations, and man, I really loved this movie.
Hmm.
The characters are so well drawn, right?
Hmm.
And you could say that, okay, I've got it figured out as soon as the movie kind of starts, or as soon as we get into the second act. You can see where characters are going to go, who's going to have an arc and make a change, and if you wanted to do that, you could. But I just thought it was so realistic. The dialogue is so well written.
Hmm.
And these actors are just killing it, just
Hmm.
really killing it. Again, it's so realistic. This feels authentic. It feels like we're watching in a window of a real school that this happened at.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was just really sweet. And so I have some biases. My family's from New England. They're actually from Massachusetts.
Hmm.
And so I have spent many of Christmases in Massachusetts. And the look of the film gets that just right. The snow, the old style Massachusetts or New England buildings. And then my dad went to an all boys Catholic school, and so did all my uncles.
Mm.
So I've heard lots of stories of places like that. And yeah, just the music too is just so soothing as it comes in. And I came to really care about this character
Hmm.
that we get to meet, and also about Paul Giamatti. Like, he has some insecurities that we learn about. And then of course, at the beginning, of course, the student and Giamatti butt heads, but as the movie goes on, they find out they might have more in common than they originally thought. So yeah, I absolutely loved it. I can't wait to watch it with my dad when I see him next, because he'll relate to it as well.
Hmm.
And yeah, oh, another thing is that the black woman cook, I work with someone that looks almost exactly like her at my movie theater, and I told
Oh
her
wow.
today. I was like, oh, hey, you're in a movie, just so you know. And I was like a little nervous because the cook is really overweight, in the movie,
Yeah. Yeah.
but this lady is too. And yeah, so, but she's sweet anyway. Yeah, so I don't really have any nitpicks. I don't have any nitpicks or negatives, really. I gave it 4.5 stars.
Hmm.
um yeah, because it feels so realistic. It
Hmm.
feels like Payne knows this place so well. And even when they go to like a towny bar, and the kid runs into some trouble, he almost gets in a fight. The
Yeah.
way that
Oh yeah.
situation goes feels real. Like, that's
Hmm.
probably how it'll go. Hey, let me buy you guys a beer, and they'll say, all right, fine.
Oh shit.
And
Sorry.
it really, I think, did a good job of bringing us back to the 70s. Even though I wasn't alive then, it felt
Hmm.
like it felt authentic. So yeah,
Yeah.
I loved it, man. What'd you
That's
think?
good.
You hate it?
I didn't really like it.
No.
Um, no, I'm kidding. No, I absolutely love this movie.
Oh, thank
This
God.
movie is great. This is Alexander Payne's. This is him like taking Dead Poet Society and mixing it with
Good call.
A Christmas Story.
Good call.
Like it's like if he took those two movies and just put them together, and in the 70s, and the 70s here just looks beautiful, but it almost looks timeless.
Yeah.
The movie makes you feel like even though it's the 70s, I felt like I've lived it. Like, I've
Yeah.
lived
Yeah.
parts of this.
Yeah.
And it looks beautiful. It's shot kind of almost in sepia tones, a little bit, and it's really kind of nostalgic looking.
Very
Um,
nostalgic looking, and it so
mhm,
gives you like winter vibes. Like it
Yes.
had me almost be
Yes.
like, damn, I'm kind of missing. I'm not going to get any snow now that I moved out of Chicago. You know, like it
Right.
almost made me feel that way. And I wondered if you were like, oh, I guess I'm kind of looking forward to a
Oh, for
snowy,
sure.
you know.
Yeah, yeah, you think about it, and yeah, it's so, this character is just, he's a great character.
Ooh,
Paul Giamatti's
yeah, he is.
Paul Hunnam. You hate him and love him at the same
Yeah,
time. Even at the end, like, it's not so like, it's not so like cloying. It's not trying to make you love him,
right, right,
um like, you're not, by the end you're not like, oh my god, like, you just love him, what a sweetheart, he's really
right, right. No,
changed.
he has flaws. Like
He's still flawed
he's a
and
flawed man.
shitty. And even, Mary, played by Davine Joy
Hmm.
Randolph, she's flawed, and she's not perfect, but it's really funny. Like, so there's one part where she's kind of goes off and she's not in the movie for a little bit, and I felt anxiety just having these two characters together, the kid and Giamatti's character, because I'm like, Mary's kind of the one to kind of,
Yeah, she's like the referee.
exactly. So, and then things do kind of happen without her. Like, but anyways,
Yeah, and I
um,
want to say this too before we move off her. So Divine Joy Randolph,
mhm.
she's in The Guilty, the American remake with Jake Gyllenhaal. She's in
Okay,
Dolomite Is My Name. She's in Cajillionaire, if you remember
right.
that one.
Hmm.
And she's also in Rustin. We
Oh,
just reviewed that. Yeah.
nice. Looks like she was
So
also
yeah.
Detective Donna Williams in Only Murders in the Building. She's been
Oh,
in 8 episodes. So
yeah. And she does her
people,
voice in Puss in Boots.
oh, I did not know that.
And she was in
Um,
United States versus Billie Holiday. Damn. So she's a real character actor.
Yeah, I've heard the name, but like, I don't know if I could have placed her in a movie. But she'll forever live as this character, so I hope to see her more. This movie feels very personal, but I know Alexander Payne is good at making things feel personal. I mean, Nebraska is so personal, like, so small and intimate, and this movie is small and intimate, and it's reverent, and it really shows you a side of, like, loneliness, and the loneliness people feel, even if they have people around,
Yeah.
or just because of the situation they're in, or
Yeah.
and
This movie, I think the thesis or what I got from it is you might think you know someone, but
yeah,
you really don't until
yeah,
you do, like until you seek to find out, right? Like
yeah,
there's a great scene where a couple characters in this movie find out that they might both be taking similar medications.
yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
it's never remarked upon. It's just a
No,
quick camera moves across it. Oh,
yeah,
you drop something, pick it up. And that is the director or the writer communicating to me, the audience member.
yeah,
Oh, okay. So this now they're gonna have a connection here and be like, well, shit, we're almost the same. You know, it's like
yeah.
it's just so well written. It's just
It
so well
is.
written.
It's really well. And I said this just to kind of, like, I could see myself watching this next Christmas.
Me too.
Saying, like, I could, it's a movie you kind of just put on and you kind of live in. You want to kind of live in that world, but you don't, but you do.
Yeah, yeah, and I think
Um,
it's safe for all ages. There's like it's rated R,
it
unfortunately.
is rated R.
There's a couple swear words, and then there's like academic level talk of sex or those kind of themes.
Right, right.
Which, if I were a father, I would have no problem with letting kids see this one because
This
yeah,
it's a lot of it's along the same lines as A Christmas Story, which I didn't
yeah,
like when I was young, but I like more now. When you're young, you're kind of like, what's the hullabaloo about this? And then when you're older, you're kind of like, oh, this is like real life. This is,
yeah,
and this movie is real life. I don't think my kids would enjoy it, maybe in a few
no, yeah,
years,
probably
but
not at that age.
it's beautiful. I think everybody should see it. It's lengthy.
Yeah, yep.
I didn't know how long it was going into it, so I was kind of expecting an hour and a half. So when I did check at one point that it was like 2.5 hours, or 2 hours and 12
12
minutes, I was
minutes.
like,
Yep.
I was like, whew, okay, that's fine. Luckily, it was so good, I didn't really care. But
Yeah, yep.
some really
I
funny stuff as well.
yeah, yep. Good. I'm so
So
glad you like this. I
yeah,
really enjoyed it, and I can't wait to share it with more people. And I
yeah,
hope it lasts through awards season and picks a couple up. I really
yeah. I'd
do.
be fine with Giamatti getting a nomination, or and then some like writing nominations for this. This
Definitely,
would
definitely.
be
Because you
good.
think like, let's say you go to write a movie like this, you
Yeah.
could just do the Giamatti character and the boy,
Hmm.
but he knew, or through subsequent drafts, like, no, let me bring in this Cook character
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
even it out. Like
Yeah.
it's and that I think that's like the perfect choice, because if it was just the two, Giamatti and the student, it might not
Yeah.
have been
And
as
just
good.
the little things like them watching the Newlywed Game, and it
Yeah,
all felt so real. Like it felt like somebody's actual life and real characters.
it
So
really, really did. Yep.
yeah. Um. So we're just gonna move on to what's coming to streaming. So at first I have some stuff that has just started streaming last week, which is Birth/Rebirth. You didn't see this one, did you?
No, but
It's
it's
a
been available. It's been available in PVOD for a while, though, right?
Yeah, so
Okay.
it's I just wanted to let people know that it's now streaming on Shudder. So it's a interesting kind of Frankenstein-y story with some higher emotional stakes. It's pretty good. Obviously, The Killer is on Netflix. A few movies have just hit VOD. Butcher's Crossing,
Yep.
Dick's the Musical, Dumb Money, and Foe, all of which you have seen. I haven't seen any of them.
Oh, I thought you did Dumb Money. No.
No, I haven't seen it yet. I'm gonna watch it this week, I think. But I guess out of those, you'd probably recommend Dumb Money the most, eh?
Definitely.
Yeah,
And then, but for you, Mitch Burns, I think you really have to see Dick's.
I think I do have to see
You and
it
John, you have to at least put it on, because
for
it's
sure.
it's shocking.
Yeah, I need to see like the commercial kind of shocked me. So and then this weekend, November 16th, Monarch Legacy of Monsters is the new TV show coming out about Godzilla and the society called Monarch that kind of helps, deal with these monsters. This is a continuation of the, King Kong,
Yeah.
Skull Island, and stuff,
Yep.
and King
Godzilla
versus
movie.
Kong.
Yep.
So this stars Kurt Russell and his son Wyatt Russell.
Oh, okay.
Um, and I think they're playing older and younger versions of
That's
themselves.
pretty cool.
So
That's pretty
yeah.
cool.
Best Christmas Ever is on Netflix. It's a starring Heather Graham, Jason Biggs. When a twist of fate lands Charlotte and her family at her old college friend's Jackie's house only days before Christmas, she seizes the opportunity to prove her old friend's life isn't as wonderful as it seems from her holiday newsletter. All right. Another one, I won't read the description, but it's called Dashing Through the Snow, November 17th on Disney Plus. That has Little Ray Howery, Ludacris, and then Teyonah Parris, who we just saw in The Marvels.
All right.
Do you know who Please Don't Destroy? Do you know who they are?
No.
So the Please Don't Destroy guys are on Saturday Night Live, and they're kind of like the Lonely Island guys back when they were on SNL doing videos. Well, these guys are the kind of new Lonely Island, so they've got a new
Okay.
movie coming out on Peacock on November 17th. So it's them, and then Bowen Yang and Conan O'Brien co-star in. So it's going to be a comedy. They're pretty funny guys. I don't love them, but
They grew up in Savannah, Georgia.
oh, did they?
Yeah.
Oh, so Rustin, the one you just talked about, will be this weekend on Netflix, November 17th. And then, do you want to do coming to theaters?
Yeah. Yeah. And I think I told you I added something there, or a couple
Okay.
edits. All right. So coming to theaters, Titanic the musical, which I have heard about. Apparently, it won 5 Tonys.
I just saw the trailer for it. It looks horrible, but I might see it.
Yeah, winning a Tony doesn't necessarily mean it's great, because I've seen plenty of things that have won Tonys.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what is this?
I won a Tony.
That theater world is so different from
Yeah.
like what they see as the best and stuff. So anyway,
Yeah.
Titanic the musical's coming. I probably will skip it. The big one is Hunger Games: Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. Of course, this is the prequel to the Hunger Games movie starring Rachel Zegler, Viola Davis, and Peter Dinklage. And
It
some new
also
blonde boy.
Sorry, I also did see that it has some pre-screenings pretty early.
Oh,
So some people, if you're looking, you might be able to get into it on Tuesday or Wednesday. I saw some, and it'll also be in IMAX. It's taking over some of the IMAX screens I saw. So
thanks for the heads up. I
yeah,
will definitely be looking.
yeah, take a look because I saw that it was like when I was looking on the website, it said it's coming out a few days before the actual release date.
So I'm going to tell you and the listener something I'm working on. So I'm friendly with the bartender at my main theater, that not the one I work at, but the one I go to often.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get to a point where it's like a main Atlanta theater, so they do lots of press screenings there. So I'm trying to get to the point where if he's working and he knows there's a press screening, to text me, and then I'll figure out my own way to get in.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that might end up happening soon.
Ooh,
but
that's cool.
Next is May, December. 23 years after the notorious tabloid romance gripped the nation, a married couple buckles under pressure when an actress arrives to do research for a film about their past. So this is Todd Haynes, the guy that did Carol and more recently Dark Water, which I thought was awesome and underseen.
Me too. Love that movie.
It stars Julianne Moore, Charles Melton, and Natalie Portman. I've seen snippets of this trailer.
Yeah,
and
me too.
It looks pretty interesting.
Yeah.
Next Goal Wins, which we just reviewed, or I just reviewed. Taika Waititi's sports
big weekend.
comedy.
Jeez.
It really is. This comes out in theaters, and then it'll probably be shortly after. Well, we'll see. I guess it depends how it does.
It said all of these were coming out this weekend. I don't know which are going to be limited and then go bigger, but we'll see.
Yeah. And then Thanksgiving, isn't it called Thanksgiving?
No, it's just called Thanksgiving.
Oh, okay. So Thanksgiving, this is a horror movie that's been marketed pretty heavily. So I'd be surprised if you and listeners haven't seen something about this. So it's a horror movie around Thanksgiving. After a Black Friday riot ends in tragedy, a mysterious Thanksgiving-inspired killer starts terrorizing, speaking of Massachusetts, Plymouth, the birthplace of the infamous holiday. After, how we're taught the story of Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
In the country. So this is Eli Roth. A lot of people have feelings about him. I think we talked about this recently. I like his movies usually. I like that he likes to go there,
I think a slasher like sorry, I didn't mean
you're good.
I think a slasher like this is perfect for him. I think this is the route he needs to go now, like something like slasher territory where he can go a little dark but also,
Agree.
Yeah.
Agree. Like this is right in his wheelhouse, right? He was the guy that I think he broke out because of Hostel, or maybe
Hostel, Green Inferno.
Yeah, I like the Green Inferno. I think Anderson brings that movie up a lot, right?
Well, we did a watch along of Green Inferno.
That's right.
It was and I liked it on a second watch better.
A lot of critics hated it.
Yeah.
And I think they let maybe the politics get in the way just a little bit, but
for sure.
To me, it was funny. Just a quick aside. Green Inferno is activists go to like middle of nowhere, Brazil, Amazon, and they're trying to stop people from logging or whatever, but they literally have no clue what they're doing because they don't know that where they're going, there's a dangerous tribe that is cannibals. So
they're so stupid.
Think they're like high and mighty saving these trees, and they get kidnapped and eaten by this tribe. And it's funny. It's hilarious. And they have to shit in a bucket next to each other. And it's wild. It
is wild.
Saltburn. This is the one I added. So I heard this was coming. I looked this up and I did a little bit of work because I was bored. So Saltburn, I looked up around Atlanta. There's one theater showing this on Tuesday. 3 showtimes. Then it's not coming until a week from now. Then I looked in San Francisco and Chicago. In Chicago and San Francisco, it's showing one showtime on Monday. But it's not called early access. It's just like Saltburn, the movie. So if you're hearing this show before Friday, well, yeah, before Friday this week, look and see. You might have, if you have an Alamo Draft House, it looks like they're getting it. So, yeah, this is a highly anticipated one. This is the one with, what's dude's name?
Barry Keoghan,
Barry Keoghan.
Jacob Elordi, and Rosamund Pike.
Yep.
The trailer looks wild. Carey Mulligan looks like she just has like a small part in it, but the trailer just looks wild. Like, I don't know what to expect.
Me too. And then Trolls 3 finally comes to the United States and Canada. It has been in foreign markets now for 2 weeks. Yeah, don't know why they did it that way.
There was a early screening of it this weekend at my theater, but I am seeing it with my son for his birthday this weekend. So.
And then apparently there's some early screenings of the Disney movie Wish.
Yeah.
So look for those. And let's get to the box office. Who won?
Game.
Yeah,
well,
game.
I'm pretty sure I won.
You definitely did. I had more faith.
But I mean,
I have a moral victory. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh my gosh. I can't find the one we did episode 39. There it is. So you guessed that it would do 65 million domestically, and I guessed 61 domestically.
Wow,
so
we were both way.
I won that. But I'm not going to assign you anything because we have to watch that movie for Matt.
Oh, yes.
So I will assign you that.
All right.
So that we can watch it this week. I was already thinking, I was like, I'm not going to assign him something on top of that.
Well, thank you. I'm going to put on my calendar.
That's your assignment.
Block off the time to watch that this week.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. So thank you everyone for listening. Episode number 40. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Threads, YouTube, Linktree /Mitch Burns. It's all there. All the links for everything. I've got to make a Hollywood Persona one separate because you go to my Linktree and it's like 40 links. It's it's a little overwhelming. Ant Paul 311 on Instagram and Ant's Movies on Letterboxd. It's all down below. Thank you everyone for listening.
Thanks. See you next week, Mitch.
Alrighty. So 3, 2, 1, stop. Hour and a half. That's good.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah. I think it's perfect. We covered enough movies. Like, I think this is great.
A lot of news. Yeah, that was great. Okay.
Export audio. I think they moved the. Yeah, they did.
What is going on? File.
Yeah, they changed it, so it's now export audio, I guess. Why would they do that?
That's weird.
Yeah, okay. Annoying, right?
Maybe I shouldn't have done the update. THP 40. Alrighty.
All right, man. Have a good week, and we will be talking. Let me know when you see anything, dicks or dumb money or any of that. Yeah, I will. Right, cool. It's going to be a big weekend. Holy cow. So much coming out. I don't know what I'm going to see when, but I will. When's is this weekend Thanksgiving for you? No, so for me it is. Good question. So no, it is next week. Okay. And so I'm going to go down to visit my dad in Jacksonville, Florida. Yeah. The Wednesday through Saturday. So I might be back to record for Sunday. Okay. Actually, I should be back to record. So this coming Sunday we can record, and then the following Sunday I'll probably be back. And I'm sure I'll be able to see a movie while I'm down there with him. Before. We'll see what it's. Yeah. Okay. All right, bud. Well, I'll talk to you soon. All right, man. Have a good one. All right. Bye. Peace.